systems are go. About 90 seconds to the launch destination.
Mind you, we swore an oath of loyalty, but we are still senators. It's not more speeches in the Senate that will change the world. Rome is dying.
My legions are mustering as swiftly as possible. General Gaius Julius Caesar! Enough!
Senators, welcome back to episode 60 in my Stellaris Roman Empire campaign. In the last episode, we trapped the Unbidden in the Cicero System and we annihilated it with our Nicol Dyson beam, thus removing a large bulk of the forces in play, allowing us to push towards their portal, overwhelm their defenses, and ultimately drive them from the galaxy. The galaxy was saved. Emperor Tiberius was deified, as was Admiral Opsius Neurilgicus for his gallant efforts, and many other admirals were given a triumph. The war is over, and there is no more conflicts left in the galaxy. It's been about 3 years since we drove the Unbidden from the galaxy. Not too much has changed. I've redrawn some borders here and there. The Colden Consortium have swelled in size as I've tried to get our Empire sprawl a little bit down. We've decommissioned some of our star bases and things like that. And it's really the road to Nova Roma, which we're building right now, which is to relocate a lot of the population, but not all, to the Birch World to ensure their safety for all time, really. At the moment, there's 351 pups living on this planet. They are all human. There's some redevelopment going on. A military academy, a research institute, an administrative park are being built. There's a Senate House, a system capital complex, a galactic stock exchange, and a Citadel of Faith. The planet has absolutely no running deficit. It is completely self-sufficient. It does everything for itself. It's not really a planet either. It's a megastructure, of course. And then in terms of the actual breakdown of population, we've got 230,000 rulers, 236 million specialists, and 92 billion workers. With much more room for more. Just did not have the time and wherewithal to relocate more pops here just yet. We've also breached the 9,000 mark for total Empire population, so we are swollen in size. Now there's no more conflicts for us to really face against. There's nothing really left for us to do. You might be wondering what's the even point of this episode, and essentially it's just to round off and wrap up the series as a whole. One of the things I was hoping to do was to drive the clock all the way up to about 2499, you know, and play out the last year. But unfortunately, the game is just running so slow that it really would take me a very long time to get to there. I'd have to go like a week without an episode and then just put one up. So I don't really want to do that. I thought I advanced time as much as I could, and I was like, yep, this is taking ages. It took me like, I don't know, about 3 hours just to do like 3 years, relocate some pops and stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay. We'll draw a line under it there. So some interesting things I thought we could talk about and go through some stuff, but then also we'll have a look at the what-if scenario of what if we didn't fire the Nicol Dyson beam? Would we have won that battle? We'll load up some combat simulations and see what would have happened. As if you remember from the last episode, we saved it right beforehand so we could check that out. So there will be another battle to have a little look at and see how it would have went, because I'm curious, even myself, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know. So the only other things I can think of is that the stabilization of Uranus finished, which actually does mean it is now a habitable gas giant. So I was a little bit worried about that. I thought we were maybe doing some stripping it by accident, but we're not. So I've queued up the same thing to happen at Jupiter. I thought that we'll ever see it, I guess. And generally, what I was hoping to achieve by the end game was to have just the Birch World with like a big pocket of territory here in the Galactic Core for us, and have several sectors, maybe the sector obviously at Sol, a couple sectors wherever we have Ecumenopolis worlds, like we have Titanium, we had the one, the Lost Planet, we've got one down here, the Font of Knowledge. I wanted to keep a few of those territories whole, and I was also hoping on integrating the Veldener Zealots, the Colden Consortium, the Remnants of Ilaria, anyone I could, really, just integrating everyone, and then redrawing back out all the borders to keep it all nice. instead of having so much disjointed borders like the kosher are located all around here. It just would have taken a lot of time, but ultimately we can shape the galaxy to do whatever we want. You know, we're the dominant force. There's no reason to say that we could not have done this. It just would have taken a little bit of time. I actually found another God, what are these called? Excavations? Yeah, excavations. Archaeological dig site out here. We don't own the territory, though. I was thinking we could even do that, but it's fine. It's just all that stuff is just a little bit of busy work at this point. But I thought we'd just have a look through some stuff and where we kind of ended up. So score-wise, we had 348,000 score. We are number 1. Remnants of Valaria number 2. Kosher Trade League number 3. Pod Privateers 4. Dakarite Fragments 5. Golden Consortium 6. Veldener Zealots 7. And then the Penthulan Progenitors, who are a fallen empire, 8. And you can see the rest for yourself. So if we turn off Unions mode, let's get a better look at things maybe. So yeah, the Kosher Trade League, I actually ended up giving them just a little bit of extra territory and stuff. Like I said, I'd probably just like to integrate them at some point. Now, I think you can only do integrations if they are subservient. So we'd have to basically go to war with people and just like force them in to be a subject, not just in the Federation, and then we could absorb them. If I was looking at this... Yeah. I think that's what you'd have to do anyway. The only independent faction were actually the Sadrel Exiles, which I believe are part of the More Events mod. They came from like this specific special cluster down here, so kind of a unique little faction that managed to hold out on their own, which is kind of cool in a way. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's much else to really report on. In terms of demographics, I had started to purge a few people. I know I didn't run this by the Senate. But the reason I was doing some purges was because anything with like less than 6 pops, which we just had loads of, I started just queuing them up as undesirables. So nothing that you would really know. I don't even know where they're from. These are mostly just random alien species that you wouldn't have to worry about. The only one actually would be the Eldar. The Eldar are actually part of the Federation. But there was, like I said, less than 5, so I decided to undesirable them. But I think for them, let's see if I'm right or wrong. No, I am exterminating them. I was going to say, did we push them out? You can tell them to leave. Obviously, what I was trying to do as well was like clean up the mess of pops that we have so that the game would run better as I was trying to get further into it. So I was like, I'm just going to kill all the bottom 1% basically population, which is quite a drastic thing. I mean, we're talking billions for this, literally for the size we're at right now, I guess. But ultimately, I just kind of gave up on the idea and drew a line under it all. But yeah, it's worth noting that there was a bit of purging going on. I didn't have to change the policies. We always allowed purging. We just never enacted it. So it was always, you know, it's totally legal. Totally legal. So that was one of Tiberius's final acts, I guess. And you can imagine the Veldener Zealots did not take too well to that. They consider us... They're disloyal to us now, and they actually claimed a little bit on us because we are genocidal, apparently. Well... It is what it is. Needed to clear up the lag to a certain extent. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully, I didn't get to see any comments, so I don't know if there was anything specific people wanted to look at. We could look just really quickly, once again, at some of the most famous kind of areas in the game. Of course, we have the Sol system. The situation now, we have Terra, Mars, Mercury, and Venus all inhabited by us, and Uranus is about to be. Jupiter, we're about to build a macro stabilizer on. We built an interstellar assembly above Neptune, and that's kind of where we got a lot of our diplomatic weight from, although we didn't necessarily need it. We, of course, had the Starfield of Mars, which is really our military hub, our convergence point for building everything that we could. So we have our mega shipyard there, just hammering out ships. Of course, back in the day, and our strategic coordination center. Back in the day, it used to be Tiberian that did that, but we kind of changed that and made sure that we pushed it over to the Starfield of Mars, where we made all our ships. Tiberium itself was used to be our long-running science area, and we of course have the fossilized remains here, and the Blade of the Huntress is what we ended up getting. Then we have Cicero System. Cicero System, known for its Century Array, uncovering all the information about the galaxy that we needed. She Draconis, which is just a standard name. We have some crystal megabores up there. And then Epsilon Indy, we had the dual star lifters, making about 2,300 minerals. I think we brought that up to 3,000 at one point. There's probably some edict that we had on before. Pollux had the crystal megabores as well. So, of course, we used to have the Tyrene Republic up here, long since absorbed, since they betrayed us in the war in heaven. So that's obviously just part of our own territories now. Augusta, the administration hub of the capital with the Kugelblitz containment silos. Not only are they the administration hub of the empire for bureaucracy and overseeing everything, but they also have the largest storage sites for storing all the different various resources that we have. Although they're a bit overworked right now, seeing as the Empire Sprawl is bursting over the admin cap right now. By the way, when I was ending months and seeing months go by, we were gaining something like 30 pops in 1 month. Like, it's crazy, because we've over 100 planets. I think I did decolonize about 3 or 4 of them. Just very, very small ones, so almost no pops on them. In an effort to try and reduce those things down, but I was just like, oh my god, so much to get to do. Next we have Alexandria. Made a bit of a mistake on this one. Ended up moving pops from this planet, and we, you know, maybe perhaps burned down some paradise domes or commercial zones, whatever. It's still fine. We have lots of amenities and things like that. But yeah, Alexandria, known for being the kind of resort world of our capital, where people go for their leisure. One of the most pretty and beautiful planets in our empire. And of course we have the Galactic Mall, where people do their shopping. So this is a very big tourist trap, really, of the empire. I'll leave that music on, why not? We built one of our first hyperforges here, the Nidavellir Hyperforge. Super powerful, helped us really get towards building our, we ramped up our scale so much when we got our hyperforges built. Suddenly the Birch world, which seemed almost impossible to kind of think about how we could fund like 500,000 alloys, was really doable within a couple of years. So they were quite cool. People were saying, I've never seen the Avengers films, but they were saying it looks just like some forge in that, apparently. I have not seen it though, because I'm not a massive nerd. And then we have Hades, the planet within a star, with its strange satellites that orbit it. We called this Hades because it seemed like people there were going to die, but they never did. So apparently whatever that dig site was, or whatever happened there, it already happened. This star, we were eventually hoping to shrink it down, but we never got to be able to do it. It wouldn't let us do it with a star so big. Hellas, one of the most famous systems within the Empire, famed for its 4 ring worlds, including a behemoth gargantuan hyper, and then regular, I think that might be the name of them, the 4 different ones. All the Greek city-states. Really what they're known for now is just being home to a ridiculous, amount of slaves. It's just like mostly slaves that live on all of these, and they're almost all geared for either energy or farming. There are a couple that are geared for science, which I believe Lesbos is one of them. Yeah, 100 scientists, 100 researchers living out here. So a few of them were for science, but most of them were just as a place to store the copious amounts of slaves that we ended up getting, and they just work the fields, the artificial fields that we have planted, so they can create food for us. And food we have in abundance. Although not as much as we used to. We only make 2,000 now. We used to have like 8. Am I selling it still? Oh, that's why. We're selling 8,300 every month. That makes a lot of sense. Anything else worth pointing out? Obviously we have the Galactic Core. I could be wrong, but I don't really think there's anything else that's like terribly important. Of course, very, very early on we had the Gaia planet, and then I think south of it we had Rhea. And Rhea was the one where the Titans live on here, yeah. And we turned them into food. And we have hunters that specifically hunt them. That was really great for early food boons. And then in between we have the Lyrum Orchard, which, because this was a food sector, we decided to encase this gas giant and set it up so that we could have copious amounts of food here. There's a way to select that planet. I don't know how to do it, but you can actually read things about the planet that tell you like it has a megastructure built around it. It's kind of cool. It tells you like it's been, like where it's growing food and stuff like that. And then the last one I think to mention is Gargantua, which is where we have the Penrose Sphere. So this one was a long-running megastructure where we had to stabilize Gargantua as a black hole, build this Penrose Sphere around it, but then I think about 50 years went by before we could actually get the technology to then figure out how to build a ring world around it and stabilize it further. And the whole time the Infinity Machine just kind of sat there watching. Ultimately these places have all turned into super radiant scattering collectors with hundreds of jobs available. A lot of pops that was going to relocate to these were going to be like slaves, specifically of one type. So it's like, oh, if you have 500 Scanorii, I think they were called, 554 of these, you could move 100 to each different district, and that way you're optimizing your job output a bit better. I think ultimately they were set on quite a lot of planets, actually. 40 worlds there across. A few of them are on a couple though. Delphi is 100, Diogenes is 189, which is kind of crazy. And that is a ring world segment. Diogenes. Unemployment here. 100% crime. I'd have to sort that out. I don't know why they'd be so full of hate, but okay. But yeah, 190 workers, 175 technicians. Them all being this type of pop really just helps cut down the amount of like job checks that it does all the time. Alright, I think that's pretty much it, so let's go have a look. Of course, we, just has to be mentioned, we of course have megastructures and things elsewhere. We have other Ecumenopolis worlds, famous battle sites. This is where we would have fought in the War in Heaven. There was a huge battle that took place here. We have the Opsius system, the most highly defended system in the entire galaxy, and which has a galactic general hospital built over the battle site for Opsius's famous battle. So, there's a lot of rich lore and history we built into our galaxy. This is actually not as powerful as it could be. I don't know why that is. Yeah, I think that's basically. Oh, and the very last thing is we have, of course, the L cluster, and how could I forget the battle against the Vazarin? Man, that was the big enemy I felt like for us in this, because being honest, obviously this campaign was quite easy. I didn't know it was going to be so easy. I've only won a handful of Stellaris games before, and this is on a higher difficulty than I've ever won before. It wasn't Grand Admiral, but the one below that, Admiral. And then the Crisis was set on times, I think it might have been 22? I was just a little afraid to push it to 25, I must admit. But maybe I should have. Because a Dyson beam is pretty powerful stuff. Although ultimately we could take out anything with that, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, Nemesis, that felt awesome coming up here and destroying this thing. And just seeing it all. I had never seen it before. This is such a cool addition with the mod, the More Events mod. Really, really fantastic work. Like, really blew me away by how professional that was done. Just the quality of the models and the writing and the lead up to it, and even the premise, very ambitious kind of thing. It's like, oh, you're going to get attacked multiple times. Portals are going to open up in different empires and wreck them. And eventually you'll be able to take the fight to them. It's really, really excellent work done by those modders on that one. Okay, so you know what? Let's load these combat projections and say goodbye to the year 2473. Leave your comments below on what you think would happen. A lot of people did want a very aggressive expansionist Rome where we just literally took everything. That totally could have done that, just would have taken a bit of time. But I wanted a game that was a bit more nuanced. Just a little bit. I'm really happy. Even though it was easy, I'm still really happy with how it played out. Or it became easy, let's say. It wasn't always easy. Yep, so let's load these combat simulations. And let's fight the final fight again, but in a different way. Because I feel like I'd actually built these ships a little bit wrong. A lot of people as well in the comments are pointing out you should go for range, outrange them. You can outrange the unbidden. Keep saying that. You could just simply outrange them, and as long as you fire most of your payload before they even get to you, you can avoid a lot of damage. My ships are not geared for that. I never really thought about that I could just outrange other people. But of course, with the mods that we're running and the advanced AI behaviors we can put on our ships, we can do things like that. And the AI can't. And their weaponry isn't really that crazy for their range. 9120. So yeah, so some of our biggest ships have range of 250. We could just sit way back. But now they're in the Cicero System, about to be ambushed, but we're not going to fire this time. We're just going to go through ourselves and fight them there with everything we got, just to see. And by the way, we don't have the extra Planetcraft with us right now, do we? Are they at Cosmalion? Oh, they are. We could bring them in. If we lose this, we'll bring them in. Right now, we're not going to. We're just going to make it a little tougher on ourselves and not bring in the 4 extra behemoth Planetcraft that we have. So I think everyone needs to follow Diana's Wrath, the 4 moons. And the moons can just be the ones that go in. Are we following? There we go. Alright, there we go. We're queued up for a second final battle. Remember, this is combat simulations, of course, where Opsius is providing a detailed report of the simulations he ran at the time to see would we win this or not, and how many casualties would we face. And then Tiberius made the call, fire the Nicol Dyson beam instead. So that's what happened there, of course. Alright, here we go, in we go. Do we have any battle music we could put on, maybe? I can't remember the music that played at the end of one of the other episodes. It was really good, actually. I believe it began with S. Oh well, that's fine. This one's good enough. In we go. Place your bets now. Also, as a send-off, my cat is with me, and she's kind of watching the screen. She wants to see what's going to happen. Alright, the 4 attackmans are here, and they're moving. Just before we push further. Come on, Dorian. Where is it? There it is. Alright, it's the 1st of April. The lag month. Come on. Alright, cool. Should be out of it now.
New technology discovered.
Unlike the normal battles I do, I'll actually hover over this one so we can see what's going on while it's happening. So we have 2 Behemoth Planetcraft, by the way, and then the rest of our fleet, and 4 attack moons. 4 of our Behemoth Planetcraft are being left behind. Alright, let's speed it up. If our economy wasn't so good, this could have been what we would have had to do if we never got the Nicol Dyson beam built. Music playing a little early, if I'll be honest. Oh yeah, I never actually mentioned in the previous episode, when I was trying to fix the mods, I had to reinstall the game, so all the music is not the same as it used to be in terms of its layout. That's why I'm struggling to find things again. Yeah, I can't find it. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Let's just go with something like this then. Alright, there we go. That's the fleet combat. We're on fastest. I'll just slow it down now to normal. The biggest battle in the galaxy. Bigger than... I mean, it actually would be, because it's way bigger than what we fought before. Because we actually didn't fight it. We just let them do their own thing and blast them with the Nicol Dyson beam. So this is by far and away the biggest battle taking place. They've got somewhere in the realm of... Let's just have a quick zoom out. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I think we said before 18,000 or 18 million fleet powers. So let's just say 17. Their skill is only level 3. Nona Orphidius leading the battle with her level 15. Our best general, actually, our best admiral. A battle that's going to take place over, I would say, a couple months, possibly. The Juggernaut's in there as well. Good to see. Well, we seem to be cutting through them, actually. Although there is still the bulk to come now. And another 2 behind them. God, look at all the strike craft. Oh, yes. There's the attack moons firing now. The attack moons were never respec'd because we couldn't. Although we have suffered a huge amount of casualties. I'm looking at a lot of ships blowing up there in the center. Holy fuck. It's hard to see which ones we'll be losing. There's just so many fleets in this list. Got some of our fleets angling around on the side there. God, they just went down, did they? Yeah. A few of them did. Yeah, we're definitely getting black. I mean, we're not keeping our range, that's for sure. We are just driving straight right up into them. And the attack moons are, the planetary craft are just so far away. It's like they don't even, they're not even in the combat, right? No. What a mess. I'm still seeing pretty big numbers for us though. Seems like we are winning. We're getting the better of it. I don't understand how we did damage to armor again. I don't get that. Yeah, we just turned the tide. It's almost at the 50% mark. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Who died? Admiral Velusta Trebulus died when the Romulus 2 was destroyed. Oh shit, an entire fleet went down. Romulus 2. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what would have happened should we have sent in our entire fleet. So we had more than enough power, I guess, to deal with it. And then what would have been left for us to handle? 2.5, and then the 7.5 that are left at their kind of base. So yeah, here's the fleet combat report. So we would have lost Admiral Velusta Trebulus from Romulus 2. I'm not too sure what that means. We didn't have a fleet called Romulus 2. It must have been like her specific ship was destroyed. That used to be a thing in Stellaris, but it's not anymore though. So yeah, significant losses this time around compared to last time. Last time we lost like, I don't know, 10 or 15 ships in total. 32 corvettes from Opsius's fleet. 5 dreadnoughts, 4 carriers, 11 dreadnoughts. I'm gonna count up how many dreadnoughts we lost. 16, 22, 26, 27, 28, about 28 dreadnoughts. That's so expensive. Oh, that's probably why we took out some transport ships that belong to the Thogan Emergence. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. That happened before. I think that's probably where the armor value comes in. And the first Corolla from the Valon, like, what's that about? That keeps happening. That happened before when we looked at it. It's like, I didn't see them in here, but apparently they're taking place somehow. Taking part in that battle. But anyway, that kind of shows us what would have happened in the combat simulation report, so I hope you feel like it was justified to instead fire that Nicol Dyson beam and spare countless Roman lives. Just want to load this save one last time. The very last thing I didn't mention is we went forward and I looked at the debris and we ended up getting ourselves some matter disintegrators and things like that. I don't know why 2 songs are playing right now. Game is destabilizing. Alright, we're back in. So yeah, just wanted to open up technology really quickly. Researched. Yeah, so the only technologies I got in the last 3 years, we got that nanite thought matrix, matter disintegrator, matter annihilator, grand matter annihilators. That's what they were using. I don't know if they were using grand matter, but they're using the basic ones. Titanic matter annihilator. Again, I don't know, it doesn't seem that good though, really, compared to what we have. And then null void beams, which I know in multiplayer people use null void a lot, actually. But yeah. So that's pretty much it, guys. That is the end of the series. I just want to say thank you. This was a wildly popular and successful series, at least for me. So I really do appreciate it. I think in total it garnered somewhere around 650,000 views, which is insane. People who are watching regularly as they post often see about 2,000 to 3,000 on the day that it's uploaded, which is, or at least the day after about 24 to 48 hours, which is crazy. Just because then if you look then a couple weeks back, you can see like the previous episodes are still rack up views to like 7,000, 8,000, or some of them even crossing 10,000, at least in the first batch of first 20. So it's just crazy like how many people have followed the series over time and how many people continue to find it. The first episode is like 180,000 views. It's insane. So I'm glad people really enjoyed the idea and they had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. It wouldn't have been nearly as fun if I didn't get to have the audience participation, the Senate helping out and doing the votes and things like that. The only thing I regret or I wish was just that I had known how powerful we could get and maybe increase the difficulty or do something. But I think even so, ultimately the AI in this game is just really not the best since 2.2. Even discounting mods. Since 2.2, I've just noticed, like, with the planetary overhaul, the AI has just gone really, really bad and really vacant. And I think it's fine if it's your first time in the game or you're playing for one of the first times. And I know about AI mods like I'm actually drawing a blank on the name of some of them now. Glavius or something. There's a few other ones. And I played with them. They make the AI quite aggressive, but they don't really make it better for its economy and stuff like that, which is still a bit of a shame. So, ultimately, I don't really plan on playing any more Stellaris. There's nothing against the game. I just feel like this is a great playthrough. I'm kind of done with it now. I don't really need to play through it again for a long time. So I didn't actually end up getting this DLC. So I'd love it if they made Stellaris 2 at this point and kind of just had a good solid foundation where the game wouldn't lag based on the ideas that they want. For me, what I would love to see, and not to go off on a tangent as I often do, but is density. I'd love to see density. You know, I think it's weird, and I always thought it was weird that they were focusing on an expansion that dealt with federations when there's only going to be about 20 empires in a given game. Making a DLC based on alliances seems very strange, whereas you have a game like Crusader Kings 3 or Imperator Rome where there's, you know, hundreds and thousands of nations, potentially. I would love something like that in a Stellaris game where you can have like feasible multiple like different planets with their own empires on them, if you know what I mean, like their own nation states, like planet states, and that are all part of like big coalitions. The galactic core should be really dense and really populated, and it's just not. So I think that'd be really cool if they ever made a second game. Probably not for a long time, I'm sure, but if they do it, that kind of thing I think would be awesome to see, like a densely populated galaxy. I think that'd be amazing, and you could really sink your teeth into playing tall, playing small, and you could have like big wars over just small sectors, you know, small systems, or star clusters. I think that'd be great. And then you zoom out, like just like CK3, the way you have like you could be, you know, what would be awesome. I am going off a tangent here. It's like you could have something like let's just say ourselves, right? The Roman Empire. And the primitives and smaller empires could be in some sort of system like this fighting each other and not even know that they are actually part of a large empire. Like they're within a large empire already, you know? And it's not until you zoom out and you get that focus and you get that scope that you realize we're just a tiny pawn in the middle of some massive empire that doesn't even deem us worthy enough to like interact with us yet. But then when you build up and you get more powerful and you kind of expand a bit, maybe then you get the opportunity to be independent or be a vassal. Oh man, I would love that kind of thing. So those are all the kind of things I would like to see in a new Stellaris game. And when people say like, why don't you do another one or play another, I just don't really feel like it. You know, I've played 1,500 hours of Stellaris. I've played through 30 multiplayer games, and every time I played multiplayer, I played a different type of playstyle, like Megacorp or Pacifist or whatever. So I've kind of done it all. Roman Empire is my favorite one to play, just for the alternate history vibe and all of that. But yeah, that's got to be it for me. But maybe given some new mods or big updates, maybe in a year or so, I'll come back to it. For those who are wondering, on this channel, the next thing I probably plan on doing is Anno 1800 playthrough, which is a bit more of a chill building kind of thing, but also alongside that, possibly a Crusader Kings 3 playthrough, but using the Bronze Age mod, because just like this game, I've kind of done with Crusader Kings 3 already. Like I've kind of seen all the events and I'm a bit bored of it. I played it over 100 hours and I'm just like, you know, it can't really surprise me anymore, and that's what I live for in these games. Variety is the spice of life for how I play games. I don't play to min-max. I don't care about that stuff. It's easy to do after a while, or if you just look up a guide, you can look at how anyone does anything in these games, and it's fairly easy to game it, as the Spiffing Brit will show you. I much prefer stories, you know, unique playthroughs, unique situations and things like that, and unique characters, and that's why getting the same events in CK3 all the time now is a bit repetitive. So I might do something like the Bronze Age, because I think the gameplay is great. It's just I need more events, and I think Bronze Age has all of its own unique ones, so that'd be pretty cool. All right, anyway, if you got any ideas, let me know in the comments below, and either way, if you choose not to join me in my future endeavors, that's fair enough, and I appreciate all the support we've had in this one. And those who do come along for the ride, it'll probably be in about a week's time when we start up some new series. So thank you guys very, very much for all the support. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I really can't say how much it helps me as well in ways that I cannot express. So I appreciate it a lot. All right, thank you guys very much for watching. This is the end of the series, 60 episodes, longest running series I've ever done, over 70 hours, I believe. Thank you for sticking with it. And I won't see you in the next one, but I'll see you in the next series. Goodbye.